Today in the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator John Kennedy delivered a fiery challenge to the nomination of Judge Kasubhai. His words weren't just sharp, they were a warning about what happens when politics seeps into the federal bench. Kennedy made it clear, this judge is not fit to serve as a federal district judge. Before we dive deeper into the full exchange, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us here at Capitol Conservatives. We bring you the unfiltered truth from Capitol Hill, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Kennedy began by laying out his own philosophy. Simple, straightforward. Don't hurt people unless you're defending yourself, don't steal from others, and let people live their own lives. He stressed that if someone wants to use different pronouns, that's their choice. But the problem wasn't personal beliefs. The real issue, Kennedy said, is when a sitting judge uses his authority to impose those beliefs on others in a courtroom. Judge Kasubhai, as a magistrate, required litigants to introduce themselves by declaring their pronouns, something Kennedy called not voluntary but oppressive.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to repeat what my colleague Senator Cruz said about Judge Kasubhai, but he's not qualified to be on the federal bench. And everybody on this in this hearing today knows that. Heard the same testimony I heard. He's entitled to his beliefs. Look, about 90% of my personal philosophy is don't hurt somebody unless you have to defend yourself. Don't steal other people's stuff, and leave me alone. If you want to use different pronouns, that is your business. I may not agree, I may not do it, but that's your business. This is America. You're free to do that. But this judge used his authority to require litigants in his courtroom to do what he thinks is politically correct. And he did that as a magistrate judge. And he'll do it as a federal district judge, and you know it. Once again, I don't care what his political beliefs are. But he has no right, as a sitting judge, to direct in writing litigants in his courtroom to stand up and introduce themselves by saying, my name is John Kennedy. My preferred pronouns are. Now, the judge said in his testimony that was voluntary. That's not true. I've read the order.
In testimony, Judge Kasubhai claimed the practice was voluntary. Kennedy pushed back hard. He reminded the committee, when a litigant is in court paying hundreds of dollars an hour to an attorney, and the judge instructs them to announce pronouns, that's not voluntary, that's coercion. Kennedy's words cut through. That alone tells me he cannot exercise power maturely. If I could vote no twice, I would. If you agree that judges should not be pushing political agendas from the bench, smash that like button right now. It helps this video reach more people who care about judicial integrity.
What? And he said, but it's voluntary. It's voluntary. Right. I'm a litigant in his courtroom paying a lawyer $400 an hour to try to get my case resolved. And the man on the bench who's going to decide my case tells me to stand up and announce my pronoun. That's not voluntary. That's oppressive. And that alone, forget his writings, that Senator Cruz went through very eloquently. That alone tells me that he cannot exercise power maturely. If I could vote no twice, I would. And on this final point, when President Trump nominated people who weren't qualified to be on the federal bench, we killed those nominations. And several people on your side of the aisle, my Democratic colleagues, and on our side of the aisle did it. By my count, we killed 5 of them. Dead as fried chicken. And we didn't do it behind closed doors. We did it here in the committee. We demonstrated they weren't qualified. Now here's your chance. This man is not qualified to exercise power as a federal judge. It's bad enough that he's a magistrate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy reminded everyone of precedent. During the Trump administration, nominees deemed unqualified for the bench were stopped, even by members of his own party. By his count, 5 nominees were voted down, right in committee, not behind closed doors. His message was simple: we've done it before and we should do it again. This wasn't about politics, he said, but about qualifications and maturity in exercising judicial power. Kennedy ended with a warning. He said the committee will see more of these battles going forward. If nominees aren't forthcoming in their testimony, if their records show something different than their words, then every single one of those debates will happen in full public view. He reminded everyone that he has voted across party lines when a nominee was qualified, but with Judge Kasubhai, the record was clear, he isn't.
I appreciate the judge's response, but we all heard his testimony, and we all have read his record. And sometimes people don't tell the truth in their responses. I'm not calling the man a liar. I'm just saying, who are you going to believe? His written responses, probably crafted by the White House lawyers, or his testimony in committee. And I think what we're going to see going forward, more of these types of exchanges going on here today. When somebody is qualified to be on the federal bench, by God, I will stand up. I don't care what party they are. I was the lone Republican vote to confirm a nominee from Tennessee. I'm almost done, Mr. Chairman.
Almost
the
30
lone
seconds.
Republican vote. But from now on, if we're going to play it like this, we're going to have a debate on all of these nominees and talk about their testimony in committee and who was forthcoming and who wasn't. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've been very kind, and I appreciate the extra time.
You're welcome.
Kennedy's challenge wasn't just about one judge, it was about the future of the federal bench and whether Americans can trust their courts to be free of political coercion. If you believe in holding nominees accountable, make sure to subscribe to Capitol Conservatives. Hit the notification bell so you never miss the moments that the mainstream media won't cover. And tell us in the comments, do you think Judge Kasubhai should be confirmed, or was Kennedy right to call him out? Thanks for watching Capitol Conservatives. Until next time, stay informed, stay strong, and keep holding Washington accountable.